There are places where the ocean's song never truly fades, where the wind carries memories across the sand, and where the past lingers like the salt in the air. Torrey Pines State Beach, with its endless horizon and rolling surf, is one such place. It was here, on a summer night in 1978, that the story of Barbara Jane Nante became woven into the fabric of the Coast. A story of innocence, love, and the enduring ache of unanswered questions. Barbara was just 15, her eyes bright with dreams and her heart open to the world. She was a cheerleader, a sister, a daughter, and a friend. She loved music, laughter, and the feeling of warm sand between her toes. Those who knew her remember the way she would light up a room, how her laughter seemed to dance on the air, and how she always found a way to make others feel seen and cherished. On that August evening, Barbara and her boyfriend, Jim, decided to spend the night camping on the beach. It was a simple plan. Two young people, side by side beneath the stars, lulled by the rhythm of the waves. They talked about their hopes, their fears, and the adventures they would share. The world felt safe, wide open, and full of promise. But as the night deepened and the world grew quiet, something changed. The gentle peace of the beach was interrupted, and in the darkness, a moment unfolded that would ripple through countless lives. When the sun rose, the world was not as it had been. Jim was found, injured and dazed, his memories of the night blurred and incomplete. Barbara, so full of life just hours before, was gone, her journey cut short in a way that left those who loved her searching for answers that never quite came. For Barbara's family, the days that followed were a blur of disbelief and sorrow. Her parents, Ralph and Judy, clung to each other, trying to make sense of a world that no longer made sense. Her siblings, friends, and teachers gathered in quiet circles, sharing stories and tears, remembering the girl who had touched their lives so deeply. The community mourned together, their grief echoing across the sand and into the years that followed. The police searched for answers, combing the beach for clues, talking to anyone who might have seen or heard something that night. But the truth remained just out of reach, like a whisper carried away by the wind. As time passed, the world moved on. But for those who loved Barbara, the ache never faded. Her parents became advocates for others who faced similar heartbreak, turning their pain into a force for compassion and change. They spoke of Barbara's kindness, her laughter, and the light she brought into their lives. They refused to let her memory be defined by that one night, choosing instead to celebrate the fullness of her life. Each year, on the anniversary of her passing, friends and family gather at Torrey Pines. They walk the shoreline, sharing memories and lighting candles that flicker against the dusk. They speak her name softly, letting it mingle with the sound of the waves. For a moment, it feels as if Barbara is there with them, her spirit as gentle and enduring as the tide. The mystery of what happened that night remains, a question that drifts on the breeze and lingers in the hearts of all who remember her. But in the face of uncertainty, there is love. There is hope. There is the belief that every life, no matter how brief, leaves an imprint on the world, a trace of kindness, a spark of joy, a story that deserves to be told. Barbara Jane Nante's story is not just one of loss, but of resilience. It is the story of a family's unwavering love, of a community's shared sorrow, and of the quiet strength that comes from refusing to let go of hope. It is a reminder that even in the face of heartbreak, the human spirit endures, finding ways to heal, to remember, and to cherish the beauty that once was. So, as the waves continue to break upon the shore, and as the sun sets over Torrey Pines, Barbara's memory lives on. In every laugh shared, in every act of kindness, in every moment of courage, her spirit endures, a gentle, shining light that will never be extinguished. In the heart of Raleigh, North Carolina, there once lived a young woman whose spirit seemed to move with the grace of a melody. Beth Ellen Vincent was just 17, but her dreams soared far beyond her years. She was a dancer, a daughter, a friend, and a beacon of hope to those who watched her glide across the stage. Every leap, every pirouette, every gentle extension of her arm was a testament to her dedication and her love for the art that gave her life such meaning. Beth's world was filled with music and laughter. She spent countless hours in the studio, her feet aching but her heart full, always striving for perfection. Her teachers spoke of her discipline and her kindness, her willingness to help others, and her infectious enthusiasm. Her parents, watching from the wings, saw not just a talented performer, but a young woman with a heart as big as her dreams. On a warm summer day in 1994, Beth set out on a new adventure. She had accepted a short-term job, hoping to earn a little extra money to help pay for dance classes and costumes. She was excited, a little nervous, but determined as always. She promised her parents she would be home soon, and with a quick hug and a bright smile, she stepped out into the world. That was the last time they saw her. When Beth did not return that evening, her family's worry grew with each passing hour. Calls to her friends brought no answers, and as night fell, a sense of unease settled over the house. The next day, their worst fears were realized. Beth had been found in her apartment, her light dimmed in a way that left only questions and sorrow in its wake. The days that followed were a blur of disbelief and heartbreak. Beth's parents clung to each other, struggling to understand how someone so full of life could be gone so suddenly. Her friends gathered in quiet circles, sharing memories of her laughter, her encouragement, and the way she made every rehearsal feel like a celebration. The community mourned the loss of a young woman whose future had seemed so bright. Vigils were held, candles flickering in the night as dancers and neighbors alike paid tribute to the girl who had inspired them all. Teachers spoke of her talent and her generosity, her willingness to stay late and help others master a difficult step. Her fellow dancers wept for the friend who had always believed in them, who had cheered the loudest at every recital. As the weeks turned to months, the search for answers continued. Investigators spoke with everyone who had seen Beth in her final days. They followed leads, collected evidence, and pored over every detail, hoping to find a thread that would unravel the mystery. But the truth remained elusive, and the ache of not knowing became a constant companion for those who loved her. Beth's parents refused to let her memory fade. They established a scholarship in her name, helping other young dancers pursue their dreams. Each year, on her birthday, they visited her favorite studio, watching as new generations of performers leapt and spun across the floor. They spoke of Beth's kindness, her determination, and the way she made everyone feel special. For her friends, Beth's absence was felt in every rehearsal, every performance, every quiet moment backstage. They remembered the way she would squeeze their hands before a show, whispering words of encouragement that seemed to banish even the deepest fears. They danced for her, carrying her spirit with them in every movement, every note of music, every standing ovation. In the years since that summer day, Beth's story has become more than a tale of loss. It is a testament to the power of love, the resilience of the human heart, and the enduring light of a young woman who touched so many lives. Her parents, though forever changed by her absence, have found strength in the community that rallied around them. They have become advocates for others, offering comfort and hope to families facing their own unanswered questions. Beth Ellen Vincent's legacy is one of grace, compassion, and unyielding hope. She lives on in the dreams of every dancer who takes the stage, in the laughter of friends who remember her warmth, and in the hearts of all who refuse to let her story be forgotten. Though her journey was far too brief, the light she brought into the world continues to shine, illuminating the path for those who follow. As the music swells and the curtain rises, Beth's spirit dances on, gentle, radiant presence that reminds us all of the beauty that can be found in even the most fleeting moments. There are stories that linger in the air, stories that drift quietly through the years, touching everyone who hears them. The story of Kelly Allen is one such story, a gentle reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring power of hope. Kelly Allen was a young woman whose kindness was as constant as the sunrise. She was 20, a nursing student in Missouri, with a future as bright as her smile. Friends remember her as someone who always listened, who offered a helping hand without hesitation, and who dreamed of caring for others in their moments of need. Her laughter was soft but infectious, her determination steady, and her heart open to the world. In the spring of 2007, Kelly's life seemed to be unfolding just as she had hoped. She was doing well in her studies, balancing her coursework with time spent volunteering and sharing quiet evenings with friends. She loved to read, to walk in the park, and to talk with her family about the adventures she wanted to have. Her parents, proud of her gentle spirit and her dedication, encouraged her every step of the way. One evening, Kelly visited a friend's apartment in Berkeley, Missouri. It was a simple gathering, filled with conversation and laughter. As the night grew late, Kelly decided to step outside for a breath of fresh air. She left her phone and wallet behind, promising to return in just a few minutes. But as the minutes turned to hours, and then to days, it became clear that something was terribly wrong. Her friends and family searched everywhere, calling hospitals, walking through neighborhoods, posting flyers on lampposts and bulletin boards. The community came together, united by their concern for the young woman who had touched so many lives. Police officers joined the search, combing parks and alleyways, knocking on doors, and following every lead, no matter how small. But Kelly was nowhere to be found. The days stretched into weeks, and the ache of not knowing settled like a shadow over those who loved her. Her parents waited by the phone, hoping for news, praying for her safe return. Her friends gathered in quiet circles, sharing stories of her kindness, her laughter, and the plans they had made for the future. Each day, they hoped for a miraculous sign, a call, a clue that would bring Kelly back to them. As the seasons changed, the search for Kelly became a quiet echo in the community. Her family never gave up, holding vigils each year to honor her memory and to remind the world that she was still missing, still loved, still missed. They spoke of her gentle heart, her dreams of helping others, and the emptiness left by her absence. For Kelly's parents, the hardest part was the silence, the unanswered questions, the empty chair at the dinner table, the birthdays and holidays spent wondering where she might be. They found comfort in the kindness of neighbors, in the support of friends, and in the hope that one day, the truth would come to light. Kelly's story is not just a story of loss, it is a story of love, of resilience, and of the quiet strength that comes from refusing to let go of hope. Her family's unwavering search for answers has inspired others to look out for one another, to cherish every moment, and to never take a single day for granted. In the years since her disappearance, Kelly's name has become a symbol of hope for families facing the unknown. Her parents have reached out to others, offering comfort and understanding to those who walk the same difficult path. They have turned their pain into compassion, their longing into action, and their hope into a light that shines for all who are missing, all who are waiting, all who are searching. Kelly Allen's story reminds us that even in the quietest moments, love endures. It lingers in the memories shared, in the kindness extended to others, and in the hope that refuses to fade. Though her journey remains unfinished, the impact of her life continues to ripple outward, touching hearts and inspiring acts of care and compassion. As the sun sets over Missouri and the world grows quiet, Kelly's spirit remains a gentle, unwavering presence that whispers of hope, of love, and of the promise that every story, no matter how uncertain, is worth remembering. In the gentle heartland of Oklahoma, where the sky stretches wide and the stars seem close enough to touch, there lived a young man named Sammy Youngblood. Sammy was 18, a time of life when the world feels full of promise and every road is open. His laughter was infectious, his loyalty to friends unwavering, and his love for his family deep and true. He was the kind of son who never left for the day without a hug, the kind of friend who would drop everything to help someone in need. Sammy's days were filled with simple joys, the roar of a car engine on a country road, the strum of a guitar on a lazy afternoon, the warmth of a bonfire surrounded by friends. He had dreams of adventure, of love, of building a life that was uniquely his own. Those who knew him best remember his quick wit, his big heart, and the way he could make even the most ordinary day feel special. On a September evening in 2003, Sammy joined his friends for a night out. The air was thick with the last breath of summer, and the world seemed wide open. The group gathered at a party, sharing stories, laughter, and the easy camaraderie that comes from years of friendship. For a while, everything was as it should be: music, conversation, and the feeling that nothing could go wrong. But as the night wore on, a disagreement arose between Sammy and his closest friend, Dennis. Words were exchanged, tempers flared, and the mood shifted. Yet even then, no one could have imagined how the night would end. Sammy and Dennis left together in Dennis's truck, driving out into the quiet Oklahoma countryside. It was a familiar road, one they had traveled many times before, under the same stars that now seemed to hold their breath. The next morning, as the sun rose gently over the fields, a passerby noticed something on the side of East Post Oak Road. It was Sammy. The news traveled quickly, reaching his family with a force that took the air from their lungs. In those first hours, there were only questions. How? Why? What had happened in the darkness before dawn? For Sammy's mother, Julie, the world seemed to tilt on its axis. She replayed every moment, every conversation, searching for answers in the smallest details. Friends and family gathered at the Youngblood home, offering comfort, sharing memories, and holding on to each other as they tried to make sense of the unimaginable. The investigation began with urgency and care. Police spoke with everyone who had been at the party, piecing together a timeline. hoping for a clue that would bring clarity. There were rumors, whispers, conflicting accounts. Some said Sammy and Dennis had argued. Others believed they had made peace before leaving. The rural road where Sammy was found offered few answers, no cameras, no witnesses, just the hush of the Oklahoma fields and the weight of what was missing. Julie Youngblood refused to let her son's story be forgotten. She reached out to the community, urging anyone with information to come forward. She spoke at vigils, wrote letters, and kept Sammy's memory alive in the hearts of everyone she met. Her love for her son was fierce and unwavering, a beacon that refused to be extinguished by sorrow. As the years passed, the pain of not knowing became a constant companion. Birthdays, holidays, and quiet evenings at home were marked by Sammy's absence, a chair left empty, a laugh missing from the table. Yet through it all, the Youngblood family found strength in each other, in their memories, and in the kindness of friends and neighbors who never forgot. Sammy's friends remember him as the one who always had their back, who could turn any bad day around with a joke or a smile. They gather every year to honor his memory, sharing stories, playing his favorite songs, and promising to keep searching for the truth. For them, Sammy is not just a memory, he is a presence, a spirit that lingers in the laughter, the music, and the Oklahoma wind. The community of Norman has not forgotten either. Sammy's story is a reminder of the preciousness of life, the importance of friendship, and the enduring power of hope. His mother's courage has inspired others to speak out, to seek answers, and to hold on to love even in the face of heartbreak. Today, the case remains open. The police continue to review evidence, to listen for new leads, to hope that one day, someone will find the courage to share what they know. For the Youngblood family, every day is a step forward, a journey marked by love, by longing, and by the quiet belief that the truth will one day come to light. Sammy Youngblood's story is not just a story of loss. It is a story of resilience, of community, and of the unbreakable bond between a mother and her son. It is a story that reminds us all to cherish the moments we have, to hold our loved ones close, and to never stop hoping for answers, no matter how much time has passed. As the stars shine over Norman and the night air hums with possibility, Sammy's spirit endures, a gentle, steady light guiding those who love him through the darkness, reminding them that love never truly fades. In the heart of Montgomery, Alabama, there once lived a girl whose laughter was as bright as a spring morning. Wendy Michelle Bishop was 12 years old, her world filled with books, music, and the simple joys of childhood. She was the youngest in her family, a beloved daughter and a cherished friend. Her curiosity was boundless, her kindness effortless, and her dreams as wide as the southern sky. Wendy's days were marked by routines that brought comfort and joy. She loved to help her mother in the kitchen, to play with her older siblings, and to ride her bicycle along the quiet streets near her home. School was a place of wonder for her, a place where she could learn, imagine, and share her gentle spirit with classmates and teachers alike. One morning in 1994, Wendy set out for school as she always did, her backpack slung over her shoulder, her smile lighting up the dawn. She waved goodbye to her family, promising to tell them all about her day when she returned. No one could have known that this ordinary morning would become a memory held close for years to come. When Wendy did not come home that afternoon, her family's concern grew with each passing hour. Calls to neighbors and friends turned up nothing. The community quickly rallied, searching parks, wooded trails, and every familiar corner, hoping to find a trace of the girl they all adored. Flyers with Wendy's sweet face appeared on telephone poles and in shop windows, her name whispered in prayers and conversations across Montgomery. Days turned into weeks, and the ache of uncertainty settled like a heavy cloud. Wendy's room remained just as she had left it, books neatly stacked, her favorite stuffed animal waiting on the pillow, sunlight streaming through the window. Her mother would sometimes sit quietly on the edge of the bed, tracing the patterns on the quilt, holding on to hope with every fiber of her being. Nearly a year passed before a discovery was made in a quiet, wooded area not far from the Bishop home. The news brought both relief and heartbreak. Wendy had been found, but the questions surrounding her journey remained unanswered. The gentle girl who had brought so much light into the world was gone, and the silence that followed was deep and unyielding. The investigation that followed was thorough and compassionate. Authorities spoke with teachers, classmates, neighbors, anyone who might have seen Wendy that day. They walked the path she had loved, searching for clues, piecing together the fragments of her final journey. But time had washed away many answers, and the story of Wendy's last day remained shrouded in mystery. For her family, the years since had been a tapestry of grief and gratitude. They remember Wendy not for the questions that remained, but for the joy she brought into their lives. Her laughter still echoes in family stories, her kindness still inspires acts of generosity, and her memory is honored in quiet moments of reflection and love. Each year, on the anniversary of her passing, Wendy's family and friends gather to celebrate her life. They share stories, release balloons into the sky, and plant flowers in her favorite garden. They speak of her gentle spirit, her boundless curiosity, and the way she made every day a little brighter for those around her. Wendy's story is not just one of loss, it is a story of love that endures, of a community that came together in hope, and of a family that continues to honor the light she brought into the world. Her legacy lives on in every act of kindness, in every moment of wonder, and in the hearts of all who remember her. In the quiet moments, when the world grows still and the stars appear above Montgomery, Wendy's spirit shines on, gentle, unwavering beacon of hope, reminding us all that love never truly fades and that every life, no matter how brief, leaves a mark on the world that cannot be erased. In the quiet, forested hills of Humboldt County, California, life moves at a gentle pace. The roads wind through towering redwoods, and the air is filled with the scent of pine and earth. It was here, in the small community of Honeydew, that Mary Stewart and her two daughters, Fanny and Jessie, made their home. Their days were simple and full of love, tending the garden, sharing family meals, and exploring the wild beauty that surrounded them. Mary was a devoted mother, her gentle wisdom guiding her daughters through the joys and challenges of growing up in the country. Fanny, the elder daughter, was thoughtful and creative, always ready with a story or a song. Jessie, younger and full of energy, loved to chase butterflies and collect wildflowers. Together, the three shared a bond that was unbreakable and a sense of adventure that colored even the most ordinary days. One summer morning in 1974, Mary and her daughters set out on what was meant to be a routine trip into town. They had errands to run, groceries to buy, a television to pick up from the repair shop, a few small things to make their house feel even more like home. Mary packed a picnic for the girls, and they piled into their car, waving goodbye to neighbors as they drove down the winding road. Hours passed, and then a day, and then another. When the Stewarts did not return, concern grew quickly in the close-knit community. Calls to friends and relatives yielded no news. The sheriff's office was notified, and soon the search began. Neighbors and volunteers combed the forests and riverbanks, calling out the names of Mary, Fanny, and Jessie, hoping for a response that never came. A month later, the family's car was discovered on a remote, seldom-used road deep in the forest. Inside, the groceries were still neatly packed, and the newly repaired television sat on the back seat. The gas line had been disconnected, but there were no signs of distress, no footprints leading away from the car, no belongings scattered in haste. It was as if the family had simply vanished into the mist. The search intensified. Helicopters scanned the dense canopy from above, while search parties pressed through the underbrush below. Flyers were posted in every nearby town, and the story made headlines across the region. Theories abounded. Had the family gotten lost, fallen victim to misadventure, or chosen to leave everything behind for a new life elsewhere? But none of these explanations fit the gentle, loving nature of the Stewarts, nor the evidence left behind. For Mary's relatives, the days turned into weeks, then years, and then decades. Each birthday, each holiday, each family gathering was marked by the absence of three beloved faces. The ache of not knowing became a quiet companion, a shadow that lingered at the edge of every memory. Neighbors remembered Mary's kindness, the way she always had a smile and a kind word for everyone she met. Fanny's friends spoke of her creativity and her gentle spirit, while Jessie's laughter echoed in the stories shared by those who had played with her in the fields. The house they left behind became a place of pilgrimage for those who loved them, a place to remember, to hope, and to grieve. The case was reopened in 2009, decades after the family's disappearance, as new investigators hoped that advances in forensic science might provide answers. But the forest had kept its secrets well, and no new clues emerged. The mystery of what happened to Mary, Fanny, and Jessie Stewart remains, a question whispered among the redwoods, a story passed down through generations. Yet even in the face of uncertainty, the legacy of the Stewart family endures. Their love for each other, their joy in the simple pleasures of life, and the warmth they brought to their community live on in the hearts of all who remember them. Their story is a gentle reminder that even when the road ahead is uncertain, the bonds of family and the strength of love can never truly be lost. As the sun sets over the hills of Honeydew and the shadows grow long among the trees, the memory of Mary, Fanny, and Jessie lingers a soft, enduring light in the heart of the forest, a promise that those who are loved are never truly gone. In the winter of 1978, the small town of Yuba City, California, was home to 5 friends whose bond was as strong as family. Bill, Jack, Ted, Gary, and Jackie were young men who found comfort and joy in each other's company. Each faced their own challenges in life, but together, they shared laughter, support, and a sense of belonging that made every day a little brighter. The 5 friends were united by their love of basketball and their excitement for the upcoming Special Olympics. On February 24th, they piled into Bill's Mercury Montego, their spirits high as they set off to watch a basketball game in Chico. The drive was filled with music, jokes, and the anticipation of a fun night out. After the game, they stopped at a convenience store for snacks, chatting with the clerk and other customers before heading back toward home. But somewhere along the way, something changed. Instead of returning to Yuba City, the car veered off the main road and climbed into the rugged, snow-covered mountains of Plumas National Forest. The reason for this detour remains a mystery: a wrong turn, a sudden impulse, or perhaps a search for adventure. No one knows for sure. Days passed, and when the 5 friends did not return, their families grew worried. The search began in earnest, with police and volunteers scouring the highways and backroads, calling out the names of Bill, Jack, Ted, Gary, and Jackie, hoping for a sign. Then, the car was found abandoned on a remote mountain road, stuck in the snow but still operable. Inside were candy wrappers, maps, and the friends' personal belongings. There was no sign of struggle, no indication of what had happened after the car was left behind. As winter's grip tightened, the search became more desperate. The mountains were unforgiving, the snow deep and unyielding. For weeks, there was only silence, no footprints, no calls for help, no trace of the 5 friends. Their families waited by the phone, hoping for good news, clinging to memories of laughter-filled days and shared dreams. When the snow finally melted in June, the mystery deepened. Searchers discovered a deserted Forest Service trailer nearly 20 miles from the abandoned car. Inside, they found evidence that some of the friends had made it there: blankets, food wrappers, and signs that they had tried to survive. Tragically, remains were found in and around the trailer, suggesting that the friends had endured for weeks, waiting for help that never came. One of the group, Gary, was never found, his fate still unknown. The questions multiplied. Why had the 5 ventured so deep into the mountains? Why hadn't they used all the supplies in the trailer: canned food, matches, a propane heater? What happened in those final days and nights as hope faded and the cold pressed in? Theories abounded, but no definitive answers emerged. For the families, the pain of loss was compounded by the ache of not knowing. They remembered the 5 not for the mystery that surrounded their final journey, but for the love and joy they brought into the world. Bill's gentle humor, Jack's quiet strength, Ted's infectious optimism, Gary's adventurous spirit, and Jackie's boundless kindness — these were the qualities that defined them, the memories that endured. The community of Yuba City came together in grief and remembrance, holding vigils, sharing stories, and supporting the families who had lost so much. The story of the Yuba County 5 became a symbol of friendship, resilience, and the enduring hope that even in the darkest times, love can light the way. Today, the mountains still stand silent, their secrets hidden beneath the pines and snow. But the legacy of the 5 friends lives on in the hearts of those who loved them, in the laughter of shared memories, and in the quiet moments when the world seems to pause and remember. As the sun sets over the Sierra Nevada and the stars begin to shine, the story of the Yuba County 5 is a gentle reminder that, even when the path is uncertain and the night is long, the bonds of friendship and the strength of the human spirit can never truly be lost. In the rolling hills and thick woods of southeastern Oklahoma, the Jameson family dreamed of a new beginning. Bobby and Sherilyn, partners in both life and hope, were determined to build a better future for themselves and their bright-eyed 6-year-old daughter, Madison. Their days in Eufaula were marked by plans for a fresh start, a place to call their own, away from the noise of the world, where they could write the next chapter of their story together. Bobby was thoughtful and quiet, a man who found peace in nature and solace in the company of his family. Sherilyn was creative and strong-willed, her laughter filling the house with warmth. Madison, with her boundless curiosity and gentle heart, was the light of their lives. Together, they imagined a home built with their own hands, nestled in the Oklahoma woods, where dreams could grow as tall as the trees. On a crisp October day in 2009, the Jamesons set out to explore a plot of land in the Sans Bois Mountains. They loaded their truck with essentials, brought along their loyal dog, and drove off with hope in their hearts. They were last seen by a local landowner, discussing the property and imagining the possibilities. There was no sign of worry, only the quiet excitement of a family on the brink of something new. But when days passed with no word from the Jamesons, concern began to ripple through their circle of friends and family. Calls went unanswered, and the house remained empty. The search began with urgency. Neighbors, law enforcement, and volunteers combed the hills and hollows, calling out their names, hoping for a sign. Their truck was discovered abandoned on a remote dirt road. Inside, searchers found the family's wallets, cell phones, a GPS device, and a substantial amount of cash. Their dog, hungry but alive, waited patiently for their return. The scene was puzzling. There were no signs of a struggle, no clear indication of where the family had gone. The woods stood silent, keeping their secrets close. For months, the search continued. Helicopters scanned the dense canopy, search dogs followed faint trails, and the community held on to hope. The story of the missing Jameson family spread far and wide, capturing the hearts of people who had never met them, but who understood the ache of uncertainty, the longing for answers. For years later, in the quiet hush of autumn, hunters stumbled upon remains in the woods, not far from where the truck had been found. The news brought both relief and sorrow. The Jamesons had been found, but the questions surrounding their journey remained unanswered. What happened in those final moments? What dreams and fears did they carry with them into the forest? The investigation explored every possibility. Some wondered if the family had simply gotten lost, disoriented by the vastness of the woods. Others speculated about personal struggles or encounters with strangers. Theories abounded, but the truth remained just out of reach, a whisper among the trees. For those who loved Bobby, Sherilyn, and Madison, the pain of loss was matched only by the ache of not knowing. Friends remembered Bobby's gentle wisdom, Sherilyn's creative spark, and Madison's laughter echoing through the house. Family gatherings were quieter, marked by the absence of three beloved souls and the memories they left behind. Yet even in the face of uncertainty, the Jameson family's legacy endures. Their dream of a better life, their love for each other, and the hope they carried into the Oklahoma hills remain a testament to the human spirit. The community remembers them not for the mystery that surrounds their story, but for the love and light they brought into the world. Each year, as autumn leaves fall and the air grows crisp, friends and family gather to honor the Jamesons. They share stories, light candles, and walk the trails where Bobby, Sherilyn, and Madison once dreamed of building their future. In these moments of remembrance, the ache of loss is softened by the warmth of love and the promise that those who are cherished are never truly gone. The Jameson family story is a gentle reminder that, even when the path ahead is uncertain and the answers remain hidden, love endures. It weaves through the trees, dances in the sunlight, and lingers in the hearts of all who remember. As the Oklahoma hills stand silent and the wind whispers through the pines, the footprints of the Jamesons remain, a quiet, enduring mark of hope, resilience, and the unbreakable bonds of family. In the heart of Boston, where the city's old brick streets pulse with the laughter and dreams of thousands, there once lived a young woman whose spirit seemed to shine brighter than most. Karina Holmer was 20 years old, a world away from her home in Sweden, and her sense of adventure was as boundless as her smile. She had come to America as an au pair, eager to experience a new culture, to make friends, and to write her own story in a city bursting with possibility. Karina's days in Boston were filled with discovery. She marveled at the city's grand libraries, its leafy parks, and the music that spilled from every corner. She wrote long letters home to her family, telling them about the children she cared for, the friends she made, and the little joys that colored her days, like the taste of her first American bagel or the thrill of catching a Red Sox game at Fenway Park. Her laughter was easy, her kindness sincere, and her optimism infectious. She was the kind of person who made others feel at home, even when she herself was far from hers. On a warm June night in 1996, Karina joined friends for a night out in Boston's vibrant theater district. The city was alive with music and light, and Karina, dressed in silver, danced with abandon, her joy radiating through the crowded club. She was seen laughing, talking and embracing the freedom of youth, her dreams as bright as the city lights. As the night wore on, Karina became separated from her friends. She was last seen near the club's entrance, her silver purse still slung over her shoulder, her eyes bright with the promise of tomorrow. But when morning came, Karina was nowhere to be found. Her absence was felt immediately by those who knew her, and worry quickly gave way to fear. 2 days later, in a quiet alley behind a row of shops, a city worker discovered a large trash bag. Inside was a heartbreaking mystery. Karina's journey had ended, but the questions had only begun. The city mourned for the young woman who had traveled so far, whose light had been dimmed too soon. The investigation was swift and exhaustive. Police spoke with friends, club staff, and anyone who might have seen Karina that night. They followed every lead, scoured the city for clues, and reached out to the public for help. The story made headlines in both Boston and Sweden, uniting two countries in sorrow and hope. For Karina's family, the pain was immeasurable. Across the ocean, her parents and siblings clung to memories of her laughter, her letters, and the dreams she had shared with them. They lit candles in her memory, gathered with friends to share stories, and sent messages of thanks to the strangers in Boston who mourned their daughter as one of their own. In the years that followed, Karina's story became a symbol of both heartbreak and hope. Her friends in Boston planted flowers in her honor, organized vigils, and created scholarships for young women who, like Karina, dreamed of exploring the world. Her family in Sweden found comfort in the kindness of strangers, in the letters and poems sent by people who had never met Karina but who felt touched by her story. The city of Boston, too, remembered. Each June, as the days grow long and the city's parks fill with laughter, those who knew Karina gather to honor her spirit. They share memories, play her favorite songs, and release lanterns into the night sky, tiny points of light that drift upward, carrying their love and hopes across the ocean. Karina Holmer's story is not just a tale of loss. It is a story of courage, of adventure, and of the bonds that connect us all, no matter how far we travel from home. Her light, though gone from the world, continues to shine in the hearts of those who loved her in every act of kindness, in every dream pursued, in every journey begun with hope. As the city lights twinkle over Boston and the stars stretch above both continents, Karina's spirit endures, a gentle, radiant presence reminding us all that love knows no borders, and that the stories we share can bring comfort, connection, and healing, even across the widest sea.